In the last episode, things literally started leaking. I tried to disconnect some pipes in the bathroom and ended up causing a water leak into the apartment downstairs. After a late night panic and a not so successful attempt to fix it myself, I called in the reinforcements. My brother and my cousin Jesper, proper tradesmen who actually know what they're doing. Crisis averted, thanks to actual plumbing skills and a little humility. We also made good progress, stripping down the kitchen, took up the bathroom floor, and started battling the glorious yellow smoke-stained wallpaper. So, if you missed the chaos, go and check it out. Now, let's get back to work. Good morning, or actually it's closer to midday. It's Sunday, and I am back here just on my own today. I was up here quite late yesterday. I think I left at around 1 a.m, so I'm a bit knackered today, to be honest. But as you can see, I'm standing in a lot of wallpaper. I unfortunately didn't capture all of it yesterday because my phone was running out of battery. And then what happened in the evening was that some small problem occurred. And again, it has to do with water. Let me show you right now. I am going over to these valves. So we have these two valves. We have one right here, which has an R down here. That means return, so it's the return is what we assume. I don't think it's saying room because this was put in here 20 years ago when I was 8 years old, so I don't expect it to have anything to do with me. So we expect this one to be the return valve. This one is open and closable on top of it, and the same thing happened on that one that we see over here. However, as you can see, this part of it is quite eroded, so it's getting rusty. And the valve that was sitting on top of it has a small screw hole. It was leaking just slightly. We didn't know what was happening with it. It was just a bit of leaky. And then my dad came around and he said, well, what you can do is you can twist you can take the screw up and you can twist it a bit so that you close the valve. And that's sort of like these bulb valves. So we tried doing that and we ended up making a mess of it. So water was leaking. One thing is that I'm quite happy that I didn't get that on camera because me and my dad was having a pretty big argument of who was to blame for the water being leaky. But I know that at the end of the day he only did what he did to try and help me. We did come up with a solution that you just saw, where we put some rubber, some wood, and then we just strapped it down so we're keeping the water in place. It's basically like putting a band-aid on an open wound to stop the bleeding. So that's what we did. So I need to get a plumber to come because he needs to change that pipe. He needs to change, I'm not sure whether he needs to change this other one too, but he for sure will need to change these two that we're seeing over here. So aside from what my brother changed yesterday in the bathroom, we also need to change those. That one, I expect that one, not too sure to be honest. And then we need to do some elements. I need to have the plumber to do some elements also in the bathroom. It's a bit shaky walking around now in this bathroom right now. But what I wanted to say is that what we need to get the plumber to do out here is to move the drainage for the shower. I'm standing in where the shower will also be in the future. However, to get the right slope in here in the bathroom, we need to have this drain moved over towards to the edge. So we're going to implement something called a uni-drain. That uni-drain is going to run along the line here. Well, I think we're going to put up a wall here. In Denmark we call them American walls. At least that's how I imagine it right now. It might be changed. Then we're going to tile the entire bottom of it. But before we can tile it, the first order of business is to get the plumbing done. Once the plumbing is done, and as you can see, this is the waste pipes are running for the shower. This one is for the sink. That one's for the toilet. We have one going this direction. That is for the kitchen. That we have these floorboards running across, but we want to strip this all down and put down a completely new set of concrete for the entire bathroom. However, to do that, we need to build a structure underneath it that is solid. And I want the structure to be running from this level over to be sort of like level on this side. Again, Rune, how do you know all of this? I don't. This is what I've been told by my cousin, who's a bricklayer / masonry / a guy that does a shitload of bathrooms. So he knows, and he's been working with this. We have to remember that this is an old house. There's a big hole right here where when this one was leaking yesterday, the water came running down here onto the old ceiling of the apartment downstairs. That was an issue. Okay, so to create the right and proper bathroom with the right slope, we're following 3 main steps. Step number 1, get the plumbing sorted. And as you saw in the last episode, if you didn't, go back and watch it. I'll link it up here. My plumbing skills aren't exactly at the highest level. So I've called in a real plumber who will come and install the unit drain, and he will also rearrange the waste pipe for the vanity unit and for the sink. Step number 2, install a wooden substructure. Once the plumbing is done, we need to build a new wooden structure for the floor. I've drawn up some plans on it here, so it's a bit easier for you to follow. Let me explain. So, as you can see here, it's a rectangular square, or at least it's how it's looking in my drawing. And I actually already have 2 of the structural beams in place. That's the 2 bits I've drawn in orange up on the picture. That means I only need to install 1 more beam, which is 100 times 100 mil, or 4 by 4 inches if you're American. And as you can see, is the one I've drawn up in blue in the middle here, and it will run in the middle of the 2 beams that are already installed in the bathroom. Then I'm also going to add some nuggins, as you can see, and they will be for structural support with a beam in the middle, along with the 2 ones on the side. And everything that I need to add is marked up here in blue. All of these beams need to be perfectly level all the way around to ensure that we can add some metal sheeting on top of it, also known as composite decking, as that will provide support for the new concrete slab that we will pour on top of this. Which then leads me to step number 3, pour the concrete slab. The structural metal sheets that we'll put on top of the wooden flooring will serve as a base layer and a load-bearing base for the new concrete floor. Since we are doing the renovation of the bathroom entirely from scratch, it means that we can create the right slope for the concrete slab, meaning that the highest point will be at the entrance where you enter into the bathroom, and the lowest point will be a bit lower, but over where you'll be showering in the bathroom. This will ensure that the water flows in the direction that it should, and we don't end up having water everywhere out in the bathroom. So that's the right way to do it. Now, a couple of things that you might be wondering. For instance, why would I need to add some extra nuggins and an extra beam onto the current structure that is already sitting there? Well, the reason for that is if we don't add extra support underneath this, the structural metal sheeting, the composite decking, will simply end up having to carry too big of a load from coming from the slab, meaning that instead of sitting flush like this, it's gonna end up looking a bit more like this. And again, what's the benefit of pouring a full new concrete slab? Well, we've already made a bit of a mess, so we might as well do it right from the beginning. First off, it's gonna give us the right slope for the drainage of the water, which is especially important because my house is actually leaning a bit in the opposite direction. And I mean, the house is over 100 years old, so what do you expect? Second, if we pour a continuous slab, as in one piece, which sits on top of these structural metal plates, it means that whenever the house moves, and it will move over the next 20 or 30 years, it might end up creating some small cracks, but those cracks will be in the sides. And according to my cousin Jesper, the bricklayer who's advising me on this entire project, the cracks will only be in the sides, and instead of going like directly through in the middle of the floor, for instance. And the cracks in the sides will be easier to fix than if we had one going through the middle. I hope that this explanation gave you a bit of a better idea of what direction we're heading in with the bathroom and what we need to do next. But for now, let's jump back into scraping off a bit more of the nasty old wallpaper, which has turned yellow because the previous tenants enjoyed having a small cigarette inside, and do that through a time lapse, and then we'll see how much more we can get done this weekend. I did expect to use more time downstairs, whilst doing the cleaning of the wallpaper and also stripping down the rest of the wallpaper. But what I'll be doing for the next 2.5 hours is sanding these beams. I want the beams not to look like this, but to look like this. I've got in total 7 beams. If I can get these 2 done today, that'd be marvelous. It's just like, it's a never-ending circle in terms of how much that you want to get done. I think instead of me continuing talking, then I might as well just jump into it. Weekend's almost over. I almost got through these 2 beams, which I'm quite happy about, quite satisfied with the results. The majority of the work is done. Now I just need to go into the small crevices, which is also going to take some time. Now I need to go downstairs. I need to finish the loading of the trailer, and then I need to take it to the tip. And then I need to go home and get a shower, because I'm absolutely covered in sawdust right now. But yeah, it's been a good weekend's work. I was a bit down yesterday, and I think you saw that also in the video, but it just pays off to come up here and do the hours and put in the effort, because the more hours I put into it right now, the quicker this will be done. But yeah, all in all, good progress. If you have any questions to any element of how I'm doing this renovation, just put them in the commentary section below. I will be looking out for the questions that are coming, and if you have any suggestions as to what I can do, what you think would be good, or for the entire build, just again shoot them my direction. I'm more than happy to speak to you about it. Aside from that, then I'd recommend you to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to post more videos, and I've been told that it helps the algorithm to like it as well. But for me, the most important thing is basically that you are just subscribing to it and you're watching the videos. That's what is most important for me. So I can only encourage you to do that. Again, I think we're 3 months away from being finished. Hopefully, I am going to have this finished sometime in end of April. But yeah, I'll see you next weekend.